This is the Generative AI Taskforce at the TUM think tank, bringing together a diverse team of experts and researchers who provide guidance to decision makers in government, industry, and civil society on issues related to the design, governance, and use of generative AI technologies. In this episode, we're speaking to Enkelejda Kasneci from the TUM School of Social Sciences and Technology. Her research evolves around human-centered technologies and AI systems that provide information for media and assistive technologies in many activities of everyday life, and especially in the context of learning. Thank you, Enkelejda, for being here. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. And I will start right away with the first question of where you see the greatest potential and potential use cases of generative AI in your field. And I know that you've been already developing and also using some generative AI in education, so I'm eager to learn more about it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rahel, for having me here today. It's a pleasure to talk to you about generative AI, specifically in the educational context. So we're interested to explore the use and to see what AI and generative AI in particular can empower us to do in the field of human-computer interaction in general, but also specifically in the field of education. Mm-hmm. And I think specifically in the educational domain, generative AI can transform the way we teach and learn and interact with also different devices and learning opportunities around us. Mm-hmm. So, for example, generative AI can help us to create personalized textbooks. Mm-hmm. It can serve as a basis for the development of virtual tutors that, can assist the learner or can answer queries by the learner in real time and respond to the learner in a very effective way or provide personalized assessment, but also help us to create immersive simulated learning environments, for example, in the sciences, architecture, art, to foster our creative thinking or creative power and more of this.
So it really has the power to transform how we teach and learn, right?
Exactly.
That's amazing. I'm so eager to see that developing. And are there any challenges that you've run into with introducing generative AI in schools, in education? Can you touch on that?
There's actually a lot of challenges currently, especially when we consider the technology that we have available right now. So there's, I think, like the most important challenges that needs to be addressed is to ensure the accuracy of the generated information through generative AI, especially when it's used in a learning context, that you need to make sure that the content generated by those AI systems is factual, for example, but it's also free of biases, transparent to the user, that the models behave in a responsive way, but also other issues like data privacy, ethical issues, regulations, and others that is not often talked about, such as accessibility, for example, of these technologies.
So especially also accessibility for different groups or different countries?
Yeah, exactly. So what we think in the current debate, we see a lot of issues around ethics, regulation, data privacy that are discussed, and these are all important issues. What is less discussed currently are issues around accessibility in terms of providing equal opportunities for people to have access to those technologies and not and actually to avoid that there's further inequalities just because of the system, just because some of the groups or wealthier nations, wealthier subgroups can have access to those technologies that others don't. So I think as organizations, but also at other structural levels, we have to think of opportunities and possibilities to enable access to these technologies for everyone. Another thing that I think is less discussed is that we need to also educate our population, not only learners and teachers, but also the population in a large scale, how to use AI technologies. What is AI technology? So they need to understand, people need to understand what AI is about, how these systems work, especially generative AI systems, how do they work, how is content generated, that how to actually reflect about the generated content, critical thinking, potential misuse, all of these issues that need to be actively known by the population, not only in schools and such organizations, but also by the large population. So we think of this as AI literacy.
I was just about to say, it's like, it reminds me of media literacy when you push not only students, but also just people to second guess and really think deeply about what they just read in the media, and thinking of deep fakes and all these kind of challenges that we also see. It's like, I think it's really important to educate not only young people, but especially older people as well, right, on these technologies, because they're not going to go away anytime soon, right?
Exactly. So they're here to stay. Technologies will be here for us to use, to empower us to do new things, to do also our daily tasks potentially much quicker than we did before, in another way, to foster our creative power and capabilities, but they need to be handled and used in a responsible way. And this is what we have to teach to everyone. We're starting here to think about measures on how to deal with that issue in a large scale specifically. And I'm glad we have the institutions here to think about learning on the job, also lifelong learning opportunities when it comes to these technologies.
No, exactly. And I think it's a great place to be, because there's so much happening, but also so much research, and actually what you do with the institute as well, where you really try it out and bring it into classrooms. I think that's a brilliant idea also, to actually like make use of these technologies as they develop and try them out. And maybe, I know that you're not a fortune teller at all, but given that this is all developing so fast, and we've only this year became aware of this ChatGPT that was suddenly free for everyone to use, is there something that you can say about how these are developing, or what you maybe hope for, or how you see it developing in the future?
Yes. So we'd like to see models with better performance, models that are transparent to the user, that are explainable to some extent. But we also hope to see models that are really multimodal, combining text with audio, maybe video, and empowering us to do completely new things. So to combine all of these different modalities also in educational tools. We expect to see models that are easier to fine-tune, so we can adapt them to our working domains and the specific fields, and make them more suitable for our use cases. That's what I'm expecting to come in the next months.
I'm very excited to see how you're going to use them also in education, because I think that's such a great example for using generative AI or large language models and actually like transforming how we learn. And that's, I think, one of the most exciting fields in how that is used. And actually, last question, how do you yourself use generative AI?
So we do a lot of research around the use of generative AI for education or human-computer interaction in the larger context. So we have developed a tool called Peer that helps students to write essays in German, and it provides them with real-time feedback on what they've written. So you can scan your essay and it will recognize your handwritten essay and provide you some feedback on that. And we're combining virtual reality with augmented reality and chatbots to have a more immersive learning experience. In my personal daily use, I use these models, or especially ChatGPT or large language models, to improve my text, to provide sometimes summaries for very long texts, sometimes for translation purposes, just like daily office work.
Mm-hmm. No, that's nice. I mean, I do so as well. And I'm very excited to see what you touched on, the multimedia use, integrating audio and video, because that would also make my job easier, actually. And there's also, it's hard to keep track on all these developments that keep on happening and these applications that are kind of growing on the market right now. So it's really interesting times we live in, I think. Is there anything left for you that you want to touch on, that you want to say, or tell the audience about your field in generative AI, or maybe something exciting that comes up?
Yeah, I think we have already a very supportive infrastructure here, and I would basically advise people from time to time to look at our education projects. Mm-hmm. The TUM Center for Education Technologies touches actually the use of generative AI in education. So I'm really curious and also eager to work with people in schools, teachers, and learners to make our systems better and more fine-tuned to the user needs. So I'm just advising everyone to have a look at our website from time to time.
That's great. And I really recommend it. So teachers, listen up. No, thank you, Enkelejda, for these inspiring few minutes and all the insights that you kindly shared. And thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Rahel. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you have questions, challenges, or use cases that you want to bring to the task force, write us at tumthinktank@hfp.tum.de.